The Federation Chamber to now adjourn. The member for Indi.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Colleagues, I'm really proud to stand here today to acknowledge the great work that's happening in my electorate of Indi by my... Thank you. To stand here to represent the great work of my indigenous communities in Indi. And I want to begin by acknowledging the leadership. Right across the electorate, people are stepping up and doing some great work in the leadership capacity, but particularly to Darren Moffat and Chris Thorne and to our aunties and uncles who are so willing and so generous in sharing their culture and experiences with our communities. Thank you. And I'd also like to recognise their commitment in engaging purposefully and genuinely with those working on the ground with their communities to come up with very practical local solutions and benefits for all of us. I'd also like to acknowledge Judy Ahmed and Talia Biggs, who have volunteered in my office here in Canberra and are now sharing their skills with the community. My door is always open and I look forward to welcoming more Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as volunteers in my office. Indi is blessed to have three very strong Indigenous networks. The Albury-Wodonga network, the Dirrawara network, and in Mansfield and Murrindindi, the Gadaba network. So these networks bring community together, they bring government together, they bring local government together, and they're also doing planning on how we might focus our energies and efforts. And they're having a huge impact. And I really want to acknowledge and thank the communities for doing that work. One of the projects that the Dirrawara group are doing in Wangaratta is having an awards night called the Proud and Deadly Awards. And I'm really sad that I can't be there on Thursday the 14th of September to celebrate with everybody. But I really want to take the chance in Parliament today to say how proud I am, particularly of our young people, to thank you for the work you're doing, for being brave, for being courageous, and I'm really pleased that you can have the acknowledgement that you deserve. That next week this will be our fifth Proud and Deadly Awards, and it's great having you at Wangaratta High School who have been supporting the event since 2013. So in acknowledging the work of the network, there's a whole lot of other people who have a role to play. So to all the people on the network, but I'd particularly like to do a call out to the Kelsos from the Department of Education and Training. I know your work in visiting the schools right across the electorate is doing a lot of good work, so thank you. And I'd also like to talk about Murrindindi in the south of my electorate, but one of the jewels in the crown, if you want. During NAIDOT week, the Murrindindi Shire Council and the Tungranung Clans Aboriginal Corporation recognised and celebrated with a local Indigenous language kit. Now, what a fantastic thing to do. So the kit was produced to enhance and complement the development of Aboriginal culturally inclusive practice in early years services. And while it's designed for younger people, it's really useful for parents as well. So it's just fantastic to see our traditional languages of our first people, being protected, resurrected and growing in my electorate. So it's not actually only happening in Murrindindi, also at Bright, which is in the Alpine Shire. The Bright P12 Secondary College have 4 students in Year 12 studying Dirrawara language. And it's just fantastic to see the support. And I'd like to just acknowledge Sue Joyce and Beck Crawley for the work that you're doing and the relationship you've developed with the Wadeye community in the Northern Territory, and how fantastic it was to come to the school for Sorry Day and be part of the school assembly, to hear the songs in language, to be welcome to country in language. And I'm really looking forward to you coming to Parliament so that we can showcase to my colleagues here what fantastic work is happening in our schools and our communities. So thank you for that. And I'd also like to mention just another example of my local community coming to Canberra. Is in the last couple of weeks, Chris Thorne, who's an Aboriginal community support worker, came with the Executive Officer Jenny Ashby from the Central Hume PCP, and they came and met with the Honourable Ken Wyatt at Parliament House. And the Minister gave them the time, was clearly really interested in the work that's happening on the ground in Aboriginal health, but also mainstreaming many of the lessons that our Aboriginal people are learning into mainstream health. So it's just fantastic to see the Minister giving us that recognition. So I want to say to my community how proud I am that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures are strong in Indi. I'm really pleased to be your representative here, and I'll call out to the young people, stand proud. not only of your heritage, of your culture, but of the future. We are really going to make a difference to Australia because our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people care and they get involved. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.